Does direct mail marketing work in 2026? The answer is yes, and in this video I'm gonna show you the top strategies that the best D2C brands in the world use to make money with direct mail. For context, my name is George and I run Yocto. We've been blessed really to work with some of the best and fastest growing D2C brands in the Shopify ecosystem. And what I'm seeing from my end is that there's this narrative going on in e-commerce, and it happens because the cost to acquire a customer is much higher than it used to be. Direct mail is a great new channel to acquire cold prospects, and it's basically another meta that you can add to the business. In my view, this is just not true. It will never be as efficient to acquire a totally cold new customer through direct mail as it is on Meta. Otherwise, Meta would not exist. We would still be sending postcards like they used to do hundreds of years ago. What direct mail is great for is the following. It's retargeting high intent audiences that you can't reach otherwise. And I think that last part is a very important distinction that a lot of you miss and you're wasting money with direct mail. Secondly, it is to monetize those that have had high historical value. But again, you can't really reach that easily otherwise. And once you've proven those two use cases, because there's no guarantee that it will work for you, right? Like you have to measure correctly. You have to measure in the first place, and then you have to measure correctly to see if it actually works and is incremental. Then you can think of other use cases such as scaling your usage and then, targeting all new customers, putting them on a order 1 to order 2 sequence and so on. But the very fundamental thing that you should do first is target high intent audiences that you can't reach otherwise. Now, before we get into the nitty-gritty, you probably have this question of what platform do I use? And if you Google direct mail Shopify, you're gonna see like a bunch of different platforms. Honestly, they are all fairly similar, not identical, I should say. I don't want to speak badly about any particular platform, but there are differences. My personal recommendation would be PaperRun. PaperRun is active in the UK, US, and soon in new markets in Europe, such as the Netherlands. And what I like about PaperRun is that it's built through a lens of incrementality, meaning that the team over there and the way the platform is set up really will nudge you towards proving the incrementality of direct mail. They will be making it easy for you to run experiments, unlike other platforms where you would be, being nudged to send a lot of direct mail and then kind of see the results. PaperRun it is for me. Your experience might be different, but I would recommend you use PaperRun. I use the big word, however, which is incrementality. And incrementality is a word that basically means that there is a measurable increase compared to the control. That's what it means, like in a very functional and practical sense. Concretely, you have two groups. This is group A. Group A does not receive your marketing activity, in this case, direct mail. Group B does. The performance of those two groups over time is compared, and then the difference in performance is the impact that your marketing activity, in this case direct mail, has. That's it. Unless you do this, you can't really know what creates what impact. You have to be doing this. You don't necessarily need to do this for email because email is inexpensive. It's essentially almost for free, right? So you don't need to be perfectly accurate in that sense. You are okay if you can know that email contributes to sales. But direct mail can get expensive quickly. So you want to have incrementality built into the platform, which again is one of the reasons why I highly and strongly recommend PaperRun. Now, how direct mail works is basically identical to the way email, SMS, WhatsApp, all of the database marketing channels work. You have a database which consists of segments and lists, and then you have your creative, which you send to those segments or lists, and then you can also automate this through flows, the way you do on Klaviyo. There's all sorts of things you could do, just like you could on Klaviyo, and just like on Klaviyo, there are some top use cases that tend to perform the best. I'll show you the first one. We call this unreachable abandonments, and in this case, we're only targeting customers. This is what the definition looks like. Somebody has started the checkout relatively recently, 23 to 60 days ago in this case, and we're using multiple different checkout started metrics because this company has a very complex technology stack, but fundamentally you target checkouts that are started. You have their address, of course, and then they've not engaged at all with email or SMS. They've placed more than 0 orders overall time, and they haven't ordered in the last 60 days ago. So these are customers who raised their hand and said, I'm interested, I like your products, I'm starting the checkout, and then they went dark. You've not been able to reach them ever again. This is an audience where it does make sense to pay a little bit of extra to target them through direct mail. And this is an audience that will convert very well through direct mail. Second audience that you should be looking into is what we call unreachable VIPs. In this case, F3 means frequency equals 3. They've placed at least 3 orders. And the definition looks like this. We have their address. They've not opened or clicked or engaged with SMS in any way over the last 30 days. Why? Because this brand has a very high sending volume, which in this case, it means they've basically ignored more than 30 emails because they send more frequently than daily. So this is actually a very narrow recency window for you, but it is a very tight recency window for this particular brand. You want to have people who have placed at least 3 orders. Again, you want to have high historical value. Why? Because historical behavior is the best predictor of future behavior. You want to have people that haven't ordered in the last 90 days. So this is a true win-back experience. And you want to have people that did place an order in the last 180 days. Why? So that they're not too far lost. Again, this is us being precise. You could, in theory, remove this and you would still have cohort of users that you could retarget with direct mail, most likely profitably. I say most likely because, again, main takeaway from this video should be incrementality. You want to be measuring whether this has a positive impact or not. Unless you do this, you might be wasting money. You might be able to monetize those people without paying for direct mail. Now, let's think through some other segments that you might want to be using. And I have my handy LTV Parthenon framework, which helps us think through and reason through, like in a mathematical way, what has value for an e-commerce company. The first segment that really matters is this: churned subscribers. Subscribers, super high value. We know this, it's better than a one-time purchase customer. So any canceled subscriber that we can bring back and reactivate is going to be hugely important for the business. So we want to have a campaign that targets those. Similar settings as before, canceled relatively recently, so they're not completely dead, and has not been engaging with our regular CRM channels so that we don't cannibalize revenue that would have happened anyway. You still want to have an incrementality test so that you truly know that this does have a positive impact. And if it is, boom, you can automate it. Just like you can automate everything else that we've said. You want to start on a test budget, see if it works, but then if it does, you want to roll it out. Another one could be converting one-time purchasers to subscription customers. Again, hugely beneficial for a business if this happens. You can start with repeat one-time purchase customers, meaning repeat customers that haven't subscribed. You send them your creative, they will subscribe. Boom, you build pillar 1 of the LTV Parthenon, your business gets stronger. After you've done all of this, after you've proven that the channel works, then we can talk about expanding and targeting more users. And of course, the platforms themselves will want you to spend more on direct mail, but they don't have the same incentives you do. Their incentive is, of course, to get you a certain success and then scale as much as possible. Your incentive should be, how can I get minimum benefit with minimum cannibalization and overlap with other channels? So you should be conservative in how you go about this. And once you've done this, you can start targeting all new customers. And again, always testing if it actually has a positive impact that would justify the cost. And then beyond that, you can also target new prospects that haven't purchased after a certain period of time. That can get expensive, that last one in particular. Be sure that you're testing if things actually work. In terms of creative, this is how good creative for direct mail looks like. You want to have a clear picture of the product, ideally the product in use. In this case, it's wine. The wine is in the glass. It's a good picture to show the glass, and then you want to have some sort of incentive or offer. Whether you should test QR code or coupon is up for debate. My perspective, it's best to have both. You want to have a physical coupon that people can see, and then you want to have the QR for those that want to go to the website in an easy way through the postcard. But the important part is that you do have a call to action. Now, this is one creative. We can take a look at a few more ones. In this case, there's like a gift. Here we have a replenishment type of offer. Take a look at how the copy nudges people to save up to 22. This is the subscribe and save maximum offer when you buy in bulk. So you can essentially think about this as almost like you would on a landing page. You want to have like a clear offer, a benefit, this case, zero sugar, fresh for 30 days, etc. It's the design element of it is a little bit more complex because there's specific criteria that you need to fulfill, which again, not impossible for a good designer to fulfill. But the messaging of it is really just like any other marketing campaign. The one thing I would say is that even though there's this tendency, especially in direct response circles, to think about direct mail as this long form letter format, almost like an old newspaper, what we've seen in our experience is that this design first format tends to convert more. And you would argue there's many reasons why. It's because people have changed how they interact with content, attention spans are different, and so on. Again, your experience might be different, but in our view, design is the way to go in almost every case. You want to have some handwritten type letters. Typically, those will be going to either your VIPs, or if you've proven this channel to be effective, you could consider rolling it out as a new customer welcome. We have a case study in mind where an experience like this to all new customers are actually a tremendously positive impact on LTV through an incrementality test also. This is it. Believe it or not, this short video gave you 80% of what you need to succeed with direct mail. My recommendation is to use PaperRun, but feel free to use whichever other platform you want. As long as you apply what I showed you in this video, you are more likely than not going to see tremendous success with direct mail, and you're going to add a new revenue stream to the business that helps acquire those high value audiences that sometimes slip through our fingers.